we had the engine mount pattern taped on here, drilled our holes, we were putting the blind nuts in. That was a pain in the butt. Anyway, we finally got them in, got our engine mount drilled, and we used our little center point punch to center the holes and drill them on drill press. Got the engine all mounted up. We'll probably do the cowl later. We're fixing to start on the inside, put the fuel tank in, and electronics. So we'll get on to that. Here is assembling the stopper assembly for the fuel tank. Put it together.
I don't say anything about it. Oh wait, here. Yeah, the short ones. That's the fill.
You may have to cut those tubes, and I don't have my pop cutter.
Why not?
These little aluminum tubes that come with your fuel tank, generally 2 of them are way too long, so we cut about a third of it off. We got Austin busy over here today with us. He's working the heavy duty pipe cutter over there.
The big one. Takes a while. That's what I was wondering. Let me see. Where is that?
We went to we're taking a little break today working. Me and Austin went to a fun fly yesterday. It was about 98 degrees, and we like to bake, but we had a good time. Get him? Alright, there you go. That's about the right length. Now do the other one about the same length there, buddy. And we'll put that back together and get the tank in there. All assembled.
Everything gets to flex and break.
We got our 3 lines coming out. We've taped the ends up so it feeds through the fuselage better, and then you can pull the tape off once you get it out. So this tank kind of throws for a loop. It sets in there at an angle like this. Normally this would be the top, but no, on this one it sets in the plane just like that. Anyway, we're fixing to install that. Be right back. We found us a little block of wood to support the throttle tube. Bill's going to drill a hole through it. He used a big old scrap piece of wood to put under it to support it so we don't bust our wood. Now he can slide that up over the throttle tube on the inside here, and hang on, and
when we get done,
then we can glue it. When we get it hooked to the servo, then we'll glue that to that wall right there, and it'll support this end of it.
Very well.
Bill is installing a throttle servo right now, drilling these holes. This servo tray, the way it's set up, we are putting the throttle servo up here in this hole, and your elevator halves come in two wires, and then they link them together as one for one servo. We're going to do the same thing we did on Cindy's Revolver 70. We're going to put the throttle servo up here in this hole. We're going to put the rudder servo here, and then we're going to put 2 elevator halves on each separate servo, and we're going to divide these up. So that's how we're going to lay ours out. Alright, now you want to CA those. Now remember, after you drill your holes, CA them. The books all say to run your screws in there and then back them out, but we found that if you just go ahead and put the glue in right after you drill it, it's much tighter. So we do it before we ever even put the screws in it. So, yeah, clogging up. Alright, is it on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Now you can see what we've done here. We've set the servos in their places, figured out which place where we wanted everything. We've drilled the holes to make a pilot hole for the screws that hold the servos down. And then, as Terry said earlier, the manual usually tells you to screw the screws in to your holes and then remove them and then use CA on the holes. We found that that extra step wasn't necessary.
This is a lot stronger.
when you drill the holes and CA them and then put your screws in, it's a lot stronger. So we do that now, and we use a fair amount of CA. Don't be stingy on it, on your holes, and make sure you have a real good bit when you put your screws in so you don't strip the heads on them.
Alright, we got 3 tubes here. You can see them, Bill. These 2 in the middle are for the elevator halves. This is for the rudder. We're going to put 3 servos here. We're going to put the throttle, move the throttle up to this. We're going to run the servo arm for the rudder to the outside. Pull that tube over there. And then we're going to run these 2. Get them down in there. We'll feed them out with tweezers. What we're going to do here is put both of these facing the back. And we're going to put an arm to the outside, which won't interfere with this over here, and this arm on this one to this outside. And then we'll have dual servos on our rudder, not rudder, elevator.
And we just talked about this earlier. Most kits offer being able to do a single servo and tie your linkages together on your elevator. And then they also offer using 2 servos to where each side of the elevator is on a separate servo. And we found it to be a lot better to use 2 servos. The cost of 1 more servo,
especially on a plane this size.
You can really fine-tune on a 6-channel receiver. You can really fine-tune your elevator.
Yeah,
so
ailerons, we'll do the ailerons the same way.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyway, that's how we're going to lay those in there, and we'll put the horns on them after we get the receiver mounted to it and everything 90 degrees. So, okay.
Okay, we've about got all our servos in. We do have all our servos in.
Put some on that tube too. That's running down the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
Plenty.
Everything went in real nice. Now we're doing, what do you call them?
Throttle linkage on the
throttle linkage holders.
Braces, holders.
We thought
whatever.
we came up with a smart idea, and we come to find out that they already thought of it.
Yeah. Kit had some with it.
Basically just drilling a hole
So
in a block
somebody beat
of
us to
wood.
our invention.
Drilling a hole in a block of wood and makes you a little holder. And if your kit doesn't have them with it, you can make one. Okay. So you start on the receiver.
Trying to figure out where we're going to mount it at. You got a loop here, here, and over here. So I'm thinking we'll put a piece of wood over that hole. Okay, got our receiver hooked up and all the wires in there. We still have to go in and piggyback the other channel for the elevator.
That, and we keep a bench battery. That way you always got a battery to hook something up, but we haven't done the final install on it yet.
Reversed. Oh, look at that. And we need to pull that off.
Get it?
Those are going to come out the bottom, so it's going to go backwards. That would be right. Rudder. Arm's going to be over here. That's going to come out on that side. So right turn. Going to push it back. That's left. Okay.
We're using a JR 9303 radio and AR 6200, I believe, on the receiver.
Yes,
6 channel.
Alright, right should pull it. Left, alright, them should all be right. Now, let's see if I can figure out how to do this again, Bill.
Okay. Took us a little while to learn how to do the separate
every time I figure it
channels.
out, then it's months or weeks before I do it again. I always forget.
Separate channels on the elevator. Hopefully we can remember it. I'm going to record it, so we will.
Aux 2. I wonder if gear is aux 2. And I'll go back to list. Wing type, that has to be on normal. Yeah, so we've got the aileron on the flap channel. Let me make sure I'm looking at that. Which is aux 1, so that's right. So we need to go with the gear channel on the elevator. And there it is. Look at that. Now they both should go. Look at that, Bill.
Awesome.
They both work and they're both pushing the right direction.
Wow.
Hey, I remembered how to do it this time, huh?
In a hot second.
Okay. All right, we're good on that.
Why is the receiver still blinking?
I wiggle it around there. Reinitialize. There we go.
Well, yeah, but it had a red light blinking.
Yeah, well, I was moving this stuff around.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mine does that too when I wiggle it. All right, throttle's working. Rudder, everything should be the right direction. Now,
using high-tech HS 425 ball bearings. They work real good.
76 ounce or 77 ounce torque. 77, I believe, at 6 volt. And actually, Bill's running a 6.6, so they'll be just a
little bit stronger,
tiny bit. So there'll probably be 78 ounce.
And then we don't need quite as good a servo for the throttle, so we're using FPS 148 Futaba. Kind of a standard servo. That's all you need on the
We got our
throttle.
receiver mounted on our foam. See, when I wiggled at it,
we're using double-sided.
We ran the antenna through a piece of shrink tubing and glued it to the side of the plane. That way, if you crash and this plate gets thrown out of the plane or whatever, your antenna will come loose. It won't pull it out. If you have your antenna taped down, which I did on one, it will rip it out of the receiver. You can buy a replacement antenna, but it's like $12 or $13. So if you run it through this tube like this, then you don't have to worry about it coming out.
And that will and can happen.
Yes. All right. We're ready. Let me turn it off for now. All the electronics in it. There's our dual servos for our elevator halves. They're all 90 degree. We got the same exact movement on each one of them. So if you have to go in and sub-trim one, or when you set your dual rates, you want to be sure and set them exactly the same with the same amount of expo, so they work exactly the same. And then we have our rudder servo over there, and throttle servo, and we'll tie our wires up nice and neat. This is not the battery we're going to use. We're just using a bench battery for now. So okay, we'll get the linkage hook up to the tail section, throttle hooked up, and then all we got to do is balance it, or put the cowl on it and balance it.